The modern music industry isn't built for you. It's built for the shareholders. We live in an era where you don't actually own anything. You pay your monthly tribute to the streaming giants, and in exchange, they grant you temporary access to a library that could vanish the moment a licensing deal turns sour or a server goes dark. It's a digital lease on your own culture. We've traded the tactile permanence of a collection for the convenience of a search bar, and in the process, we've accepted a hidden tax on our digital autonomy. If you stop paying that $10 or $15 a month, your entire library evaporates. Your playlists, your discovered gems, your late-night soundtracks, all gone. It's a recurring revenue trap that keeps you tethered to a subscription model. But there is a silent resistance growing. There are corners of the internet where the concept of ownership still matters, and where high-fidelity, legal music is available without a recurring fee or a predatory data harvesting agreement. Today, we are going to break the cycle. We aren't just looking at random websites. We are looking at the foundational architecture of the independent music web. We are talking about how to build a local library that survives a cloud outage, and how to source high-quality assets for your own creative projects without worrying about a copyright strike ruining your career. This is about digital sovereignty and the arbitrage of value in an increasingly gated internet. When we talk about the heavyweights of the open-source audio world, we have to start with the Free Music Archive, or FMA. It's essentially the Library of Congress for independent creators. This isn't just a website, it's a massive data warehouse containing over 100,000 tracks. Back in 2019, it was acquired by Tribe of Noise, which was a pivot point for the platform. Many feared it would go behind a paywall, but instead, it solidified its position as the premier source for Creative Commons licensed music. When you first land on the FMA homepage, it doesn't feel like a flashy streaming app. It feels like a professional tool. You're greeted with a layout that prioritizes search over aesthetics. You want to navigate directly to the search bar and look for the advanced filtering options. This is where the power user moves happen. You can filter by 16 different genres, ranging from the expected, like pop and jazz, to more niche territories like experimental or blues. The mechanical walkthrough of FMA is all about the metadata. As you scroll through the tracks, you can see the specific license attached to each file. Some are public domain, while others require attribution. If you're a content creator, you need to click the filter for commercial use to ensure you're not violating any enterprise-grade licensing agreements. You can stream the tracks right there in the browser to audit the quality before you even think about hitting the download button. There is a math to the FMA that you need to understand. While other platforms might throttle your bitrate or hide the good stuff behind a gate, FMA gives you the raw file. However, the downside here is the lack of variety in file types. You are looking at a 100% MP3-only environment. If you are an audiophile looking for FLAC or OGG, you might feel the squeeze of that limitation. For a power user workflow, check out the Artist Shuffle feature. Most people just search for a mood, but if you use the shuffle, you're tapping into a discovery engine that bypasses the trending algorithms that usually force-feed you the same 10 artists. It's an incredible way to find a unique sound for a brand or a project that hasn't been overused by 1,000 other creators. If FMA is the library, Jamendo Music is the global marketplace for the independent spirit. This platform has scaled to a level that rivals some mid-tier streaming services, boasting over 600,000 royalty-free songs. This is where the concept of the independent artist really shines. You aren't finding the Billboard Top 40 here. You're finding the people who will be on those charts in 3 years. The interface is significantly more polished than the archives of old. It feels like a modern SaaS product. You have a sidebar with themed radio stations, which is perfect for music discovery when you don't have a specific keyword in mind. You can dive into communities based on mood and let the platform's internal logic do the work for you. One of the edge case scenarios where Jamendo saves the day is when you need a cohesive sound for a long-form project. Unlike many sites that only allow single-track downloads, Jamendo often lets you download full albums. This allows for a level of sonic consistency in a documentary or a corporate presentation that you just can't get by piecing together random tracks from different sources. From a technical perspective, you're looking at a user-friendly experience that includes mobile apps for Android and iOS. This means you can curate your library while you're on the train and have it ready for your desktop workstation later. However, much like FMA, you are mostly limited to MP3 formats for the free tier. It's the standard trade-off between accessibility and raw audio fidelity. The power user shortcut here is the royalty-free licensing search. If you are a professional, you can jump from the free discovery side over to their licensing side if you find a track you want to use for a massive commercial campaign. It's a seamless bridge between a hobbyist's playground and enterprise-grade asset management. Bandcamp is the outlier on this list because it's not strictly a free site. It is an artist-first ecosystem. But here's the secret to the platform: the name-your-price model. Many artists, especially those trying to build their initial churn rate and fanbase, will set their albums to a $0 minimum. The workflow on Bandcamp is superior for anyone who actually cares about audio quality. When you find a track offered for free, you aren't stuck with a compressed MP3. You get the choice. You can download in FLAC, ALAC, WAVE, or OGG. This is a massive win for anyone doing professional audio engineering, or those with high-end speaker setups who can hear the digital artifacts in a low bitrate file. The math of the matter on Bandcamp is all about the conversion. By offering a free download, an artist is often asking for an email address for their mailing list. In the world of digital marketing, that's a high-value trade. You get a lossless audio file, and they get a direct line of communication to their most interested listeners. It's a fair exchange of value that bypasses the algorithmic gatekeepers. A hidden feature that most users overlook is the fan collection. Even for free downloads, you can add the music to your digital collection if you have an account. This gives you a permanent cloud-based backup of your free acquisitions, allowing you to stream them through the Bandcamp app wherever you are. It's the closest thing to a premium streaming experience you can get without actually paying a subscription fee. But before we move to the next tool, you need to understand that Bandcamp is the ultimate test of the anti-pitch. It's not a warehouse, it's a boutique. You have to hunt for the free stuff using the free tag in the search bar. If you don't use the right tags, you'll spend hours looking at paid content. It requires more effort, but the quality floor is much higher than almost anywhere else on the web. Now, if you are a content creator, the YouTube audio library is your primary utility. It is built directly into the YouTube Studio dashboard. This isn't just about listening, it's about survival in the world of Content ID and automated copyright claims. Every track in this library is pre-cleared. You will never get a strike for using these files on the YouTube platform. The interface is purely functional. You can filter by genre, mood, artist name, or even duration. If you need a track that is exactly 2 minutes and 45 seconds to match a specific scene, you can dial that in. You can also filter by attribution requirements. Some tracks require you to paste a specific block of text in your video description, while many others are completely free of any such obligation. The power user move here is utilizing the Sound Effects tab. Most people go there for the music, but the library also hosts a massive array of Foley and ambient noise. If you need the sound of a crowded cafe or a spaceship engine, it's there, and it's free. It's a recurring revenue saver for anyone who would otherwise be paying for a dedicated sound effects subscription. The only real downside is that you need a YouTube account to access it. It's not a public-facing repository in the same way the Internet Archive is. It's a gated tool for the platform's workers. But if you are already in the ecosystem, it is an indispensable part of your cloud architecture for video production. One thing to keep in mind is the freshness factor. YouTube adds new tracks to this library regularly. If you haven't checked it in a few months, your mental catalog of what's available is already outdated. It's a living library that evolves with current musical trends, ensuring your videos don't end up sounding like a 2012 corporate training manual. If you want to talk about true decentralization and the preservation of human history, we have to talk about the Internet Archive. This is the big one. We're talking about millions of free audio downloads. This isn't just music, it's podcasts, radio programs, and most importantly, the live music archive. The mechanical walkthrough of the archive is admittedly a bit daunting. It's a massive, non-linear database. You want to look for the audio icon and then narrow it down by collection. The crown jewel is the concert recordings. We're talking about thousands of live shows from bands like the Grateful Dead or Smashing Pumpkins that have been uploaded with the artist's permission. The math here is about the sheer volume of data. Because the archive is a non-profit, they aren't worried about churn rates or keeping you on a specific page. They offer multiple download formats for almost everything: MP3, OGG, and often high-resolution files that haven't been compressed to death. It's an unparalleled resource for anyone interested in the cultural heritage of music. The edge case for the Internet Archive is the historical researcher. If you need a radio broadcast from the 1940s or an obscure field recording of folk music from the 1920s, this is the only place you're going to find it for free. It's a vault. It's the digital equivalent of wandering through the basement of a world-class museum. For the power user, the secret is in the advanced search syntax. You can use Boolean operators to find very specific recordings. If you're looking for a specific show from a specific date in a specific city, the archive's metadata is robust enough to handle that query, provided you know how to ask. It's a high-stakes tool that rewards the patient user. Pixabay is a name you probably know for stock photos, but their music section is a hidden gem in the SaaS ecosystem. They have thousands of tracks that are essentially designed for the modern digital creator. If you are building a landing page, a mobile app, or a social media ad, this is where you go to find the sonic glue for your project. The interface is incredibly snappy. It's built for speed. You have tags for things like cinematic, upbeat, or lo-fi. You can listen to a track and download it in seconds without ever having to create an account. That's a massive friction reducer in a world where every site wants your data before they give you anything of value. The math of Pixabay is centered around the concept of royalty-free. Most of the music here is instrumental, which is exactly what you want if you're overlaying a voiceover or a product pitch. You don't have to worry about vocal tracks clashing with your narration. It's an enterprise-grade solution for the solo entrepreneur who doesn't have a budget for a custom composer. A power user tip for Pixabay is to use the sound effects integration alongside the music. You can find a track and then search for matching sound effects to create a cohesive audio identity for a brand. It's about building a consistent user experience across different touchpoints. The anti-pitch here is that the library is smaller than Jamendo or FMA. You might find yourself hitting the bottom of a specific niche faster than you'd like. But for high-quality, high-utility tracks that just work, Pixabay is hard to beat for its efficiency and ease of use. SoundClick is the vintage player in this space. Founded in 1997, it's a platform that has survived multiple eras of the internet. It's a place where artists can share their music directly with listeners, bypassing the traditional label structure entirely. The interface of SoundClick is a bit of a throwback, but that's part of its charm. It's a direct-to-consumer model before that was even a buzzword. You have to use the price filter to find the free downloads, as there is a mix of paid and free tracks on the site. It's a marketplace, not just a repository. The mechanical walkthrough involves navigating through an extensive list of genres. SoundClick has always been a haven for hip-hop and electronic producers. You can interact with the artist directly through forums and profiles, which adds a layer of social proof to the downloads you're getting. The math of SoundClick is about discovery of the raw and unpolished. This is where you find the demos and the experimental tracks that haven't been sanitized by a professional mixing house. It's an excellent source for unique samples if you are a producer looking for something that doesn't sound like a stock library. One powerful feature is the ability to create custom radio stations. This allows you to curate a stream of independent music that fits your specific taste profile, and then you can cherry-pick the free downloads as they come up. It's a high-engagement way to build a library that feels personal rather than algorithmic. Audiomack is the modern challenger. As of 2026, it's boasting 15 million monthly active users, which tells you everything you need to know about its rapid growth and market penetration. It's built with a focus on what's trending right now, particularly in the hip-hop, electronic, and reggae scenes. The user interface is indistinguishable from a top-tier premium streaming service. It's sleek, it's fast, and it's mobile first. While all music on the platform is free to stream, the ability to download is determined by the artist. This creates a tiered value system, where the most engaged fans get the most access. The math for Audiomack is about momentum. They have sections for trending and top songs that give you a real-time look at what is moving the needle in the independent world. For a creator, this is a goldmine for finding the sound of the moment before it becomes a cliché. An edge case for Audiomack is the Audio Mod feature. It allows for a level of interactive remixing that you just don't find on other platforms. You can change the tempo or the pitch of a track within the app. It's a glimpse into the future of decentralized music, where the listener has a say in the final output. The power user move here is following the artists you like to get notified of new free downloads. Audiomack is very much a social ecosystem. If you treat it like a static download site, you're missing 90% of the value. It's about the recurring connection with the creator. Now we pivot to something completely different. Musopen is a nonprofit organization that specializes in classical music. If you need a recording of a Beethoven symphony or a Chopin nocturne, this is your primary source. They offer free recordings, but also something even more valuable: free sheet music. The interface is academic and clean. You can browse by composer, performer, instrument, or time period. It's a tool for the serious student and the educator. The math here is about the public domain. Most of this music has outlived its copyright, meaning you can use it in your projects without any legal friction. The edge case for Musopen is the filmmaker who needs a high-quality orchestral score but doesn't have the budget to hire a philharmonic. By using high-quality public domain recordings, you can add a level of enterprise-grade production value to a project for $0. For the power user, Musopen provides educational resources that go beyond just the audio. They have a radio feature and a wealth of information about the history of the pieces. It's a comprehensive resource for anyone looking to deepen their understanding of music theory and history while building a library of the greatest compositions ever written. The anti-pitch for Musopen is that it is strictly classical. If you are looking for anything with a modern beat or a synth, you are in the wrong place. But within its niche, it is the undisputed leader in providing high-fidelity, culturally significant audio assets. Finally, we have Last.fm. You probably know it as a scrobbling service that tracks your listening habits across other platforms, but it has a surprisingly robust free music section. It's a mix of independent tracks and promotional offerings from bigger artists. The mechanical walkthrough is simple. Navigate to the free music downloads page. It's a one-click MP3 download system. No account is required for the downloads themselves, which is a rare find in the current data-hungry climate. You can preview everything in the browser before you commit to the bandwidth. The math of Last.fm is all about the recommendation engine. If you do have an account and you've been tracking your music, the site will recommend free downloads based on your existing taste profile. It's a personalized delivery system for free assets. It takes the guesswork out of discovery. The edge case here is the user who is already deep in the Last.fm ecosystem. It's a low-effort way to pick up new tracks that you already know you're going to like. It's an efficiency play. The power user workflow involves using the site's tags to find music that is similar to a specific artist you love. If you like a big-name act, you can search for their page and then look at the similar artists to see if any of them are offering free downloads. It's a way to leverage the site's massive dataset to find hidden gems that are legally available for your collection. We've covered a massive amount of digital ground today. From the historical archives of the internet to the high-speed trending charts of Audiomack, the tools to build your own local, permanent music library are all within reach. The recurring revenue trap of streaming is only a trap if you don't have an alternative. By leveraging these platforms, you are reclaiming your digital sovereignty and building a collection that belongs to you, not a corporation. The next time you're about to start a new project, or you just want some fresh sounds for your commute, remember that the best things on the internet are often the ones that don't require a credit card. It takes a bit more effort to curate, but the reward is a library that is truly yours. Go out there, start downloading, and take back control of your soundtrack. But before you go, there is one final piece of advice. Always, Always check the license one last time before you use a track in a commercial project. Laws change and platforms get acquired. A little bit of due diligence today will save you from a massive legal headache tomorrow. Keep your data safe, keep your library local, and I will see you in the next deep dive.